Livingston. Great name. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Before I forget to say that.
You changed my name, by the way.
Norman Livingston?
I thought it was such a great name.
David
Norman
C. Taylor.
Sales.
David C. Taylor.
But you know what? I think Norman Livingston sounds really
I like
good.
that, though.
All right, anyway, everyone.
The stage name.
In our celebration of laughter itself, we're in week 4 of our 5th week of 28 days that we've been doing of transformation. So over the past 3 weeks, we have been engaged in different practices of transformation. We've had handouts in the bulletin every week, as we do this week also. But the first week, we practiced every day, if you were a part of it, clearing our inner and our outer surroundings by listening and to beginning to listen to the call, whatever your great gift is, by navigating the gap, that was last week, between who we thought we were and who we really are. That was a good one last week. It's on YouTube, everyone, if you want to see it. I enjoyed it. It was good. And you have handouts today so that you can practice this coming week. So we're going to keep practicing this, and the beauty is that you can do this at any month that you want to spend 28 days of transforming your life. So next week, our last week, we will take a deep and profound look at committing to transformation as a way of living life. So today we have something very important that must be done. And today we're going to look at how we can use trouble as a tool for transformation. Now let me say that again. How we can use trouble as a tool for transformation, because things that look like trouble, we know these experiences in life are going to occur anyway. So by taking a different approach of how we can respond and view that, we can transform our thinking. It is really practical. That's why these handouts were so important for everyone to do every day, because it's a practical way of transforming our life if we want to live a happier life. If you're absolutely thrilled with the perfection that's going on in your life, that's great. Keep doing that. But if you're like me and you have a couple of things pop up, you know, whether you planned them or not, created them or not, here's another way of experiencing them. So today we're going to look at how we can use this trouble as a transformative, because it really is the alternative to living the way we've always lived, doing the same things we've always done. And I get these on email. I'm sure a lot of you here do. The notes from the universe? Yeah?
Yeah.
How many people do? Raise your hand, let me see. Okay, so these are really great. All you have to do is go on Google and go TUT or notes from the universe. Anyway, Mike Dooley wrote this one, and I thought it went with this talk today. How adventurous would life be if we were challenge-free? If we had a perfect body, perfect self-esteem, everyone adored you, and you won the lottery every Sunday. Now, what if, painful as they may be, temporarily be, you would choose a life during which challenges might arise whenever your thinking needs expansion, on the sole condition that every one of them could be overcome no matter how daunting. And they at first might seem that way. Now that's an adventure. That is what he wrote on, and I thought that one went with this because the challenges will be there. My goodness, this whole week has been, I just know because people call for prayer, it's been one challenge after another. So it's up to me to keep my consciousness clear so I can be present. So I can be present, and I can do prayer work, and I can hold the light, and that's what the practitioners, and we have the 7 new ones, yay, are absolutely, yeah, we're going to celebrate them on December 20th. We're going to present them to you. It won't be their installation, but anyway, that'll be a wonderful event too. We'll have cake, so you want to come. Mark your calendar. Anyway, so today's talk is entitled Transformation Through Trouble. And it could be called The Adventure of Adversity. That's actually a great title, The Adventure of Adversity. So are you ready to go on an adventure together this morning?
Yes.
Yes, we are. Good. Then let's go, and I want to begin with a series of questions. You know, don't you, that it is the nature of creation to evolve? We kind of know that. Spirit is always becoming more of itself. It's always changing, but it's changeless at its nature. It's always expanding. And you know, don't you, that the universe uses chaos, disintegration, falling apart, stirring up, breaking down, explosions, all sorts of things that could look really messy as vehicles of evolution. And I love this Eastern adage. Before brilliance, chaos. You ever notice in your life when things feel so chaotic and it's like, feels like one thing after another, and as long as you stay centered and really connect with that divinity within, that divine essence, that God spark within, wow, you can come at that, you will come at the end of it, because those challenges pass so much deeper in your connection with spirit and with all that is, and in your own cosmology, your own state of being in the universe. And do you know also that out of all the chaos that does occur, there is a higher order? In the midst of all the disintegration, falling apart, stirring up, breaking down, explosions, there is already a higher order potentiality. Did you know that?
Yes.
Yes.
You did?
Yeah.
It's a really great group. Did you know that you're part of the universe, the nature of the universe? And so what looks like chaos, disintegration, falling apart, explosions, stirring up, all of the stuff we go through every day, and this whole universe goes through, well, not the universe, this planet, such as a scary diagnosis, a sudden job loss. How about betrayal, rejection, whatever it may be, whatever it may feel like or be, it has within it a higher order of potentiality, a higher order of potential. And here's the final, do you know? Do you know that you or I will take that problem, that trouble, that adversity, and actually use it for our evolution? When we are consciously aware, we can take any situation and use it for our expansion, for our deepening it, because I tell you, I'm always deepening into the same spiritual truth. It's not like you arrive somewhere, some might. I have not met anyone that truly has, but there are people that have. But it's an ongoing process. Let's look for the lesson. Let's look for what I can take from this situation, whatever it is that is occurring in our lives. Challenges, adversity, trouble, these things are just a part of life. They're a part of life. Have you noticed that? Our beautiful spiritual teachings, which thank goodness I say that we have, because it's the alternative to just being in these circumstances of life. But they do not promise a life that is trouble-free. And you know that if you're going to go play in a soccer game, you're probably going to fall down and scrape your knee at some point. It's part of playing the game. It's part of it. Challenges are a part of life. Let us just know that and accept that, instead of always trying to push away what is. We can't push it away, but we can. We'll get into that. We're gonna deepen into an expansive, transformative way of being while those things are taking place. Well, since we know that always there is a good that is unfolding from every situation, then of course the question is, how do we approach it? How do we approach it? How do we squeeze every last drop of benefit out of it, of what we are going through? Our next revolution in our spiral of evolution. And I'm so glad that you asked that. Because first and foremost, it is so important, that we don't do a spiritual bypass around a problem. And those spiritual types who have been in this teaching for a while know what I'm talking about, where we just push it away and say, this is not spiritual. This is not what a spiritual being would do. Well, guess what? You're having a human experience, and so life is going to happen. And so it is dealing with what is on a different level, on a different way. To identify it, don't deny it. And if we are honest, we can always find a lesson, something in everything that takes place in our lives. Identify the problem and then bring a certain mind to it. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And there are 3 ways that we're going to talk about this morning that we can bring our mind to it. And the first way doesn't really serve us. The second way does. The first way will keep us exactly where we are. The other 2 will move us toward our evolution. So let's take a look at each one. The first is upset. Upset comes when we resist what is. So let me say that again. Upset comes when we resist and push away what is. Have you noticed when the more you push what is that's in your life, the stronger the suffering is, because that's the way it works. When, there's some examples of this, we tell ourselves, life is so hard. This just isn't fair. I'm hearing 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds say, life isn't fair. It's not fair. Well, you're going to find out, like we all do. Nobody knows the troubles I've seen. After all I do for the world, this bad stuff couldn't possibly be of God. This happens when we resist what is. Has anyone ever done that? We try, and it's like it follows us around with us because it's part of our experience. And if it's part of our experience, it serves us to embrace it. We don't have to like it, but we can embrace it. We can accept it. How about that? We can accept it and go to the mind that says, this is, what can I learn from this experience? It's part of our expansion. It's part of becoming more of, which is in alignment with the nature of the divine, which is always becoming more of its own self. But, and this is an important but, this is important for us to be in the situation and feel the feelings when we're going through it, to actually acknowledge it. And if we want to stomp our feet, do so. If we want to throw a pity party for ourselves, do it. These are all part of our being human. It really doesn't serve us not to acknowledge what we're feeling. Call a friend up and really just, I don't want to say the word, clean it up. Just really complain about it. Just be in the, you all know, to be in the problem. But the important thing to realize that it does not support our evolution to stay there. And as I've said before, when you're going through hell, don't stop to build a condo. Move through. You know, I talk to people and it's like, 20 years? 20 years, they broke up. I mean, it's 20 years over, and they're still talking about the same thing. That's hell. That's living in hell. So what are the other ways? So we have neutral. That's the second way. And here's a story, which is a true story, to illustrate the second way of being. And it is told in Eckhart Tolle's book, The New Earth. And it's about Krishnamurti, a sage and a teacher who traipsed about the world for decades, teaching and talking about delivering his message of truth and oneness in his way. And people followed him for 20 or 30 years, just really trying to understand what enlightenment is and how to get there. And they couldn't really grasp his message. And one night he said to his followers, "I'm going to give you my secret." They knew he had something that they couldn't get their minds wrapped around, so they were all there, sitting up straight, waiting for, this is it, this is the answer. We all go to these stages, oh, they're gonna give us the answer, how to live your life, not in a depressed way. You know, all of this. So they go there and they're sitting up alert, and he said, "This is the secret. I don't mind what happens." Can you imagine if we lived like that? Think about that. I don't mind what happens. If we could get to that neutral state, the second state, that would be such an improvement for so many of us, or perhaps for all of us. So for us to come to this awareness that whatever is happening right now is no big deal. It sure feels like a big deal. What is she talking about? It is a big deal. If we could get to that place that Krishnamurti was at, it doesn't matter. What a powerful place that would be. That would be a form of peace right then and there. We didn't get wrapped up and throw our wonderful spins on everything that takes place in our lives and all of our victim consciousness piled upon it. Ain't it awful, this happened to me, and all of that we do, and it doesn't really serve us. It creates more of the same thing. So the second way of being simply neutral might sound like this. In the big scheme of things, this is not a problem. I don't know how or where or when I'll get out of it. I just know I don't have to be stressed about it. I don't know what the blessing is, but I am open and receptive to finding out. We don't know the blessing when we're going right through it. Maybe we do, sometimes we can, but usually the universe will answer that. It's the cause and effect is always working. Well, I'm going to spend more time looking for the blessing in it than I am going to spend arguing with the what is. I am simply in the inquiry. I wonder what good will come out of this. And I can't wait to, Brenda, Chuck, and I study with Martha Creek, because we're going to be studying we're going to be studying the Byron Katie, the work, because that's what it's all about. Loving what is. And Martha says, you don't have to love it, because that's a stretch sometimes. But like it, accept it. I say accept it. It's going to happen anyway. So then we get to the third way of being, which is excitement. And with enough practice, enough time spent in neutral, we might be able to access the third way. Excitement is not that far off when you can get to that place of peace. One day, we may be excited, and we can't even believe that we're excited. It doesn't make sense. This is happening in my life, but there's this sense of anticipation, of enthusiasm, of excitement that's contained within that whole experience. When we can get to that place, wow, I wonder what the universe truly has in store for me. This is taking place, and instead of going into victim mode and then moving on from neutral to, I wonder what good is going to come from this. There is power. There is one power, God the good. We either either believe that or we don't. Not God the bad or God the good. It's God the good. That's what we preach here. That's what we live our lives in. So, I mean, it's either, it can't be either or. It's got to be absolute. And who would you be? Who would you be in that moment of understanding that this is for you and that this too is good, no matter what the problem is? A New Thought minister, Martha Creek, our friend here at Joyful Gathering, tells of her experience with cancer. And if you have the CDs, which she gave away for free when she was here the last 2 years in a row, then it's on one of those CDs too. She got to minister to the doctor. She got the diagnoses, but she decided to minister to the doctors, the nurses, the surgical staff throughout the journey of this process. She went through it knowing that God is all and all is peace. Not resisting. She wasn't in resistance to what is. This was the diagnosis. This is what is. She was at peace with what is. And she told her doctors, I want you to know that this is not a problem for me. This is just a part of my life. I'm suited up. I'm showing up in life. She wanted to be the person who changes the way future generations look at cancer. And because of the way she showed up, the doctors and the nurses and the attendants and the anesthesiologists, everyone involved with her, had a different experience of it because of the way she responded to it. So there are 3 ways of being, and she really does. Well, anyone that's been in her presence knows that she walks the talk. And stuff still comes up in her life. But she is practicing liking and accepting what is. So 3 ways of being. Old, painful, stressful way, resisting what is. Or open, neutral, faithful, counting our blessings. Or excited to see what good there is in life, in all of these experiences, a life of joy and happiness. Set examples like Martha did. Be the model of what it looks like to go through this situation with a different take on it. When you move into this 3rd way, you really are putting God first. You really are. That's where your faith is. And that's where our, if we choose it, our task is. It changes everything when we put the divine first. We are divine beings. We are part of this incredible perfection. It's perfect. There are no problems in God. We know this. There are no problems in God, but as human beings, there are problems in our lives. And I'm inviting all of us to put God first and see the divine, see the good, find the lesson in it. And that doesn't mean that everything is going to be to our liking, because it probably won't be. I know it won't be to my liking, because I am very rebellious, if you didn't know. And I would stomp my feet and pound them on the ground. I don't want this to happen. But it is what it is. I have another option. I'm accepting it. So we're remembering that within the problem itself is the orchestration of a possibility of a much higher order of living. So we bring a new thinking, a transformed mind to whatever trouble we are facing this day. So for a moment, they don't even know it yet, but I'm going to have all of our practitioners just surround the room, stand up and just surround the room. You're just going to hold this space. No, keep it. And so before we anchor ourselves in prayer, I want you to repeat after me. Right where I am, the wisdom of the universe is.
Wisdom of the universe is.
Right where I am,
Right where I am.
answers to every every question are accessible.
Answers to every question are accessible.
Because of right where I am,
Because of right where I am,
God is.
God is.
The problems I am facing
The problems I am facing
cannot be solved
cannot be solved
at the level of thinking that created them.
at the level of thinking that created them.
But there is another level available.
But there is another level.
It is available right where I am.
It is available right where I am.
Because right where I am, God is.
God is.
Thank you. And Norman is the practitioner too. You can sit or you can stand. So we're going to anchor this in prayer. So let's just feel the warmth of this consciousness. These are trained practitioners. These are beings that have dedicated their life to healing and that really hold us and this planet in deep prayer. And so it's from that place, through this loving consciousness that is surrounding this room, that I will speak this word of truth into, fully knowing that each one in this circle, I can feel the power. Each one in this circle of love is blessed beyond measure. That the fullness, the richness, the infinite possibilities of the divine mind are present right here, moving in and through and as each person in this room, in this spiritual community, and out beyond. For the force of good is always flowing. The force of good is always creating and expressing itself out of the only thing it can do so from, which is its own nature, its own energy. God is perfect energy, divine and in order all of the time. And it is from that place that I know that each and every person here is rooted and anchored and grounded in that soil of infinite potentiality, in the nature of divine good, and it flows in and through each and everyone's life. And that which seems like such a big problem, that which is occupying and renting space in our head, is completely dissolved by the truth of the divine light, the God spark within each and every person here. For the light is always more powerful than any darkness. In fact, darkness doesn't even exist within the light of God. Oh, I give thanks. I give thanks for this day. This is Thanksgiving week. I give thanks every day for the blessings that fill our lives. I give thanks every day for the seeming challenges that occur in our lives, knowing they are expanding us, knowing they are taking us to a different level of consciousness, of showing up in the world. I give thanks for all that is, because I know that all that is God. And so it is.
So it is.
So it is.